You're watching Suck Professor. Hello, everybody. It's me, Hank. I'm joined by
James.
James, get over here! It's starting. Sit in the corner for. What? James, why is it in the corner? The caption's not. It's Westworld episode 2, season 3.
James, welcome to the channel. I mean, viewers, welcome to the channel. It's me and Hank and James doing our show again. Westworld season 3, episode 2, entitled "The White Line."
The Winter Line.
The Winter Line. All right. Good show. We just watched it Sunday night here, and we're in the middle of this pandemic, though. We can't not talk about the hashtag coronavirus. James, how you holding up? You feeling okay? Any Are you coughing or anything?
Not yet.
I'm gonna need a coffin if I keep this up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, good times.
Yeah.
That all you got?
Yeah, it'd be nice if this was a simulation and it would just end and we get back to normalcy, but that doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon. So,
yeah, we're stuck in one of the bad worlds, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're in what
Corona world.
We're in Corona world.
We're not in the Forge, we're in the Corona. It's just what holds our consciousness until we
It's wild, dude. The whole world's just nuts. And it's all going to get crazy. People are going to start dying, and it's going to be weird. It's going to be real weird. I got to stay home and be afraid of everybody. You used to be afraid of everybody because they couldn't stand people. Now it's because they might kill me.
Well, I mean, the nice thing about this, and I'm sure many people like me have said this already, so this is not really an original thought, but It's not that the world has gone crazy, it's that the world is going crazy trying to adapt to my lifestyle.
Right. To staying indoors.
I've been training for this forever.
I know.
This is my world. I'm Maeve.
It's like I just staying home, doing nothing, avoiding everything, eating frozen pizza,
eating peanut butter right out of the jar, and being happy with it.
Spraying old people in the face with Lysol whenever you see them at the grocery store. It's just like before. It's just like before.
This is paradise.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I hope you're I hope you're safe. I hope you're taking precautions. Using Purell. I got Purell at Target.
Ooh.
Yep, I had to murder 4 people, and I stole their souls. I have their souls in ping pong balls in my purse, and I'm going to turn them back into people and turn them into a little cult army. Are you excited to join the apocalypse when it happens soon?
Yeah.
In May? It's going to be May.
Yeah, I need to start working on my cosplay outfit, my Mad Max mohawk and everything.
Yeah.
Because you need that, and you need like charred baby dolls like attached to yourself in some way, like maybe hanging from a belt loop or on your vest or something.
Ooh, charred baby dolls. That's a good armor.
It's an absolute requirement.
I like it. All right. Well, anyway, we'll see. We can talk more about that later. So we're going to review Westworld 3, episode 2. As any new people can probably already tell, we're not the most serious Westworld review channel on the internet.
Yeah.
I like sci-fi, so I'm always on team sci-fi. And this feels like it's just turning into a regular, pretty standard science fiction show. But I don't really know how I feel about it right now. Yeah. What did you think? What's your overall takeaway right now after watching
My
it?
problem is that episode 1 made me think that the show had taken a turn towards the linear, towards the kind of away from the whole intriguing, enigma-laden, timeline, confusing world of Westworld to a more to like a more basic one. I didn't feel like there was a lot going on last episode that we missed. I scanned Reddit real quick about an hour ago and found out that Bernard's name was really an anagram. His fake name that he was using was an anagram for like Broken Arnold. Okay. There was a cool shot of Aaron Paul walking the line between light and dark and shadows and things like that. We didn't mention H from Ready Player One. We did notice that last time. We didn't mention Mantis from Guardian of the Galaxy, although we did notice it in the time.
She's the one who experiences people's emotions or something?
Yeah. The problem is, though, is that...
Kinda like me.
I was thinking the rest of the season was going to be like this, and then we get this episode, and it is hardcore Westworld again. I'm back. I'm liking it again.
Oh!
But I feel woefully unprepared. I should have gone back and rewatched a whole bunch of stuff to get ready for this. I don't feel like I'm on my A game. I'm going to do my best, but...
Well, it's all right. We're not... So you dug this episode.
I did.
You felt good about it.
The problem was that I wasn't taking notes, and I was trying my hardest to pay attention, and going through it, it just kept piling up and piling up and piling up, and I got to the part where I felt like I was overloading a little bit. Well, which is a reference to the episode.
That's the theme of the episode. Big spoilers, by the way, in case somebody knows. This is all spoilers. Yeah, all right. So you're back on board, though. This brought you back in. I felt like it pushed me away it's almost like our trajectories are slightly crossing here, because I kind of find the esoteric confusion that's built into the Westworld kind of like conspiracy hinting. It's like everything is sort of like, well, you never know. It's like, well, it could be like, I find that kind of obnoxious. It makes it harder for me to concentrate.
But that was the heart of the first 2 seasons.
I know, that's why it's so miserable for me. But I still appreciate the quality of like the acting and the writing, and I kind of care where the characters are going. So it's enough of a interesting premise that I'm definitely involved. But anyway, glad that it's back for you, though. I was feeling pretty bad that you weren't going to get to enjoy Westworld season.
No, this is good. I guess this whole episode didn't have anything to do with Dolores. Dolores is in her Terminator mode in the city. Now we've got Maeve going on in Westworld. The last episode ended with Bernard going on a fishing vessel, saying he needs to go back to Westworld to see a friend. We find out that he's going back for Maeve. He wants to stop Dolores in the pursuit that she's going on to end humanity, to enslave humanity. She brought him back for a reason. He thinks it's to temper herself by giving herself an out, by giving herself balance.
Who's she?
Dolores. Giving herself someone who is potentially able to stop her.
Okay.
And we know now that Bernard went back for Maeve because he sees Maeve as the person that could potentially do that. But he needs her help.
All right, so let's go through Bernard's storyline, because there was really just two kind of congruent, I don't know if that's the right word. Were they going next to each other at the same time? What's that called?
Congruent, yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah,
okay.
Not converging, but yeah.
Anyway, so there were only 2 plot lines in this episode, right?
Yeah,
well, I guess Maeve kind of, they did some world building and showing where she started out, because she was in what we learned was War World.
Yes, and it was a little bit confusing at first because you see her back in a Westworld setting, but not Westworld, War World in this sense, like Nazi Germany, but it's like they're speaking Italian, so maybe it's in Italy, I'm not quite sure.
European theater from World War II, yeah.
But she's going along with the narrative, and Hector's there, and Hector's going along with the narrative, although she seems to be aware, because she tries to use those commands, so it seems like she still has self-awareness. Hector, however, doesn't. He's a rebooted, new story narrative guy who seems to understand who she is in the beginning, but later on you find out that he's just a mindless robot once more.
Right. So they're not going to reignite their passions for each other because he's just gone back to Minnie Mouse mode.
Right, so just like in season 1, his narrative goal was to find that empty safe. This time, his narrative goal is to take a map, escape from the Nazis, and get on a plane and escape. Right. Which he never does escape. They always gun him down in the end.
He gets to the plane and then, a big, bald, strong guy punches him in the face, and then he punches him in the face, and then he turns around and he gets killed by propellers.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yes, it's a reference game. Yep. You win. Want a hug?
No, it's okay. 6 feet apart.
Yeah, 7 feet apart.
Internet distancing.
Sure, no problem. Social isolation. All right, so Bernard comes by and he finds Stubbs. We learn Ashley Stubbs, because Bernard, first he wanders through the graveyard, which is a pretty important spot where I was hoping he would like pull on one of those tin cans and be like, hey, like hold it up to his ear and be like, hello, it's me. We're playing the telephone game. It's me, Bernard.
Or he could push one of the gravestones and reveal a staircase leading down to a special master sword. What reference is that?
Zelda?
Yeah, the first Zelda game.
What?
It was a graveyard where the master sword was.
I was just guessing. So if you had said Triforce, I would have said Zelda.
No.
Yeah. All right. So, by the way, War World is short for Wario World.
Yeah.
So, all right. So he wanders in. He goes into one of his service areas, and he runs into Stubbs.
Right.
First, he checks storage for hosts who are dormant, and it turns out they're all him.
Right. It looks like the house that he's in, though, is the same house that Ford's robot family, himself as a child, that's where that was kept. And I believe it's still the same place where Bernard actually was ordered to kill his lover. Mm-hmm. Teresa, I believe her name was.
Something along those lines, yeah.
And I think he even looks at like a blood stain on the wall, and I believe that's where it happened. He has kind of a moment.
The blood stain, it looked like it was textured, like a I don't know. It didn't look like a random blood splatter. And I've been watching lots of TV, so I know lots about blood and forensics.
And I think a lot of this stuff was hidden from him in season 1 because the whole phrase, that doesn't look like anything to me. Yeah. He was programmed not to notice the door back there, so he would never go back down there and find the different copies of themselves in cold storage. But behind all of the Bernards staying in cold storage, like you said, Ashley Stubbs is sitting right back there.
Yeah, doing the upright dead. That's always weird, right? You know.
So he'd actually tried to kill himself by shooting himself in the C6.
Right. One of those vertebrae.
Which is where the explosive is.
Yeah. So they all have the explosive?
The hosts do, apparently. Yeah.
That?
Yeah, that's why that's how this is. What am I looking for? The fail-safe that prevents them from escaping from the park.
Like what we're all going to have to install in order to go to the grocery store to get our box of edible panties. Some of us have to eat one a week, or we don't. They're prescription panties. It's medicinal edible panties, James.
Yeah, mine keeps shrinking in the wash.
Yeah, well, that's because I keep eating them while you're washing there. What the fuck?
The big question I had, though, is...
hit me.
Ashley Stubbs, there was a lot of controversy in the first 2 seasons as to whether or not he was a host, a lot of speculation, a lot of theories. It was never really revealed, though, until now, where he seems to be totally self-aware that he is a host. It's to the fact that he actually tried to shoot the explosive out of his C6 vertebrae. And he's just talking about it matter of fact that, of course, I'm a host. This was my prime directive. Why did I try and kill myself? Because my job was one thing. It was protect the hosts. And now that job doesn't matter anymore, I'm just going to off myself.
Same way C-3PO dies.
Yeah. So was he aware the entire time?
I doubt it. It sounds like his programming ran through. I don't recall there being a lot of storylines around him being whether he's a host or not from seasons 1 and 2. I know we didn't know for sure. They played him like he was a human, but I could be misremembering or not remembering.
I feel like there was a lot of hints, and we talked about it a lot because I think there was a lot of little subtleties scattered around that kind of led to that assumption.
All right, fair enough. So Stubbs and Bernard team up after he arouses him from his mid-suicide sitting there because he didn't actually die. He missed the gunshot, or he missed the thing, which is probably going to come back in some way to be explained, because aren't they perfect? Aren't they robots that don't miss? Especially if you're trying to shoot your own vertebra.
Well, maybe it's
easily shoot my vertebra.
Maybe it's in his programming to not be able to do that.
Could be.
Who knows?
Yeah, probably. To just sit there and wait to be found by Bernard. Yeah. So he's surprised, but then they go looking and dig a little deeper. And where does the Bernard storyline go? Or do you want to jump over to the
it's something to the fact of Bernard goes back to that cold storage place. His laptop, not his laptop, but his tablet is broken there. And he's concerned that he's been compromised by Dolores, I believe. And that there might be something hidden from him that he can't see unless he goes back to the source with a clean tablet that could not have possibly been tampered with. I didn't get all of that really, but it was something to that effect.
Right.
So he looks in his code and he finds out some revelations, a bunch of flashbacks of Dolores, and he knows that she was looking for a guy named Liam, which we know from episode 1, which leads him on the path to hunting down Dolores, to stopping her.
Okay.
But first he has to get the help of Maeve. So he and Stubbs jump in their futuristic doom buggy and they go off looking for Maeve.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, where the heck is she? And goes, well, there's only one place she would be. And I think they go back to cold storage.
And level 83 or something. Mm-hmm. I don't think they showed that, but they did show them walking down the original entry foyer with the Delos globe and the escalator down.
And you see all these half-finished hosts, not half-finished, but the hosts that are essentially the worker hosts behind the scenes, who don't really need to be seen, so they don't take the time to print faces and stuff on them. They're like the weird milkmen walking around.
Oh yeah, those guys are they're sort of the upgraded kind of, or maybe not upgraded, but they're the weird milkmen. Right, but they go to a different storage. Stubbs and Bernard both go to one of the larger storage rooms that's got a variety of different people, so we get to see weenies and boobs and stuff.
Yeah, and I'm sure if we had frozen it, we'd see a lot of familiar faces potentially, but we didn't have time to do that. Yeah.
Familiar heads.
Yeah, I see what you did there.
6 feet, James. Put it away. Whoa, put it away, you magician. Jesus. So then they find Maeve. She's standing there, naked, and then they go around and they spin the camera and look at the back of her head, and she's gone. She's actually got a big hole in the back of her head. We get to see inside there where they put the poached egg, the little container thing, and they're like, oh, somebody took her already.
So her core has been taken.
Yeah.
I think I forget what the exact terminology for that little white light bulb, Philips light bulb is. Yeah. But it's gone. Someone has it and they don't know where it is.
Right. RGB Wi-Fi enabled LED light bulb. That's what they call it.
Yes. So the last time we see Stubbs and Bernard, they're standing on the beach, and Stubbs essentially says, okay, once you get back to the mainland, I'll go ahead and, in my programming, basically shoot myself in the head to be over and done with, because my purpose in life is done.
Retire or something. I think
So Bernard basically gives him a new purpose, pulls out the tablet, goes bloop, 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 and says, okay, now your prime directive is to protect Bernard Lowe at all costs.
Yes.
One thing I did forget, though, is that prior to this, they're in Delos, and a bunch of guards come up and realize that Bernard is there jacking something into his arm. Like, oh my god, Bernard Lowe, the architect of the massacre, we have to shoot him. But Ashley actually protects him, takes a bullet in the shoulder, and then with one good arm left, pulls up an axe from one of these medieval guys around them, which we'll talk about a little bit later, and then fends off all the guards.
Yes. That was a very poorly done action sequence. That reminded me of that Game of Thrones episode where they fight the sand snakes.
Yeah,
Jamie and Bronn. It just seemed like ineffective choreography. But the guy, there were multiple trained soldiers wearing body armor and had heavy firepower, and they had a wounded man with one axe, and he killed 5 or 6 of them, and then chased off 3 of them.
Yeah. Well, we know that scene was garbage because D&D was actually in the vicinity with Drogo.
Yeah.
In this test chamber, doing their little comedic stick, like, hey, we're gonna chop this up and send it off because we're gonna get fired. We don't know if we're gonna get laid off next week, so we got to make our money. And it is well known that anything that comes within a relative proximity of D&D turns to absolute garbage.
That's true.
And that's why that scene sucked.
So the D&D, for anybody who doesn't know, is David Weiss and D.B. Benioff, or David Ben.
Which is not even his real name.
The two creators. Oh, really? Yeah. Anyway, it's not my real name.
His dad was like the head of Goldman Sachs for a while, a billionaire, and that's how he got all his jobs. Changes his name.
I'm sure he worked his way up from the bottom, just like everybody else who's a child of billionaires.
Piece of garbage.
So anyway, they are the creators, showrunners of Game of Thrones.
Yes.
We're all familiar with them. If you watch Game of Thrones, the one guy has a earring up on his upper ear, which if you're above the age of 45, it's time to hang up the earring. Yeah, and take it off first before you hang it up. Otherwise, it'd be very painful.
There's a lot of iconography around them during that scene. I believe there was like a dress or something on a coat hanger behind it, or on a dummy that looked a lot like something Cersei would wear, or Lannister colors. Yeah. There was the guy playing the lute, playing the Westworld theme in front of the king and queen in there. And I'm sure if we had frozen it a little bit, we'd see a heck of a lot more going in the background, but we didn't have time to do that.
Those were trademark Hank and James shot-by-shot moments that are only going to exist in the past. Sorry, everybody. And the Drogo was the big feature. They showed a big dragon, and they made so like, whoa, dragon, oh, and then they go, oh wait, that dragon looks familiar. Wait a minute, those guys were D&D guys, the 2 D&D guys. And then now, isn't that a little annoying? Like when Ed Sheeran was in Game of Thrones, where you're just like, why are these like our reality-based celebs who are known people in HBO show culture, especially? Why the fuck are they suddenly in the show talking about their thing? Like Game of Thrones needed any help anyway?
Yeah, it was immersion breaking a little bit.
It was very immersion breaking for me. Yeah. I would have preferred Blue's Clues.
Yeah.
Just some blue dog and then some dumbass trying to figure out who murdered the dog, but then he accidentally shoots the dog in the head, so he's got to like hire the wolf to come by and chop up the body, and they go into their grandma's box of old linens, and they use the linens to cover up the car because it's a very expensive car.
Okay.
So anyway, that mostly wraps up the Bernard storyline, right? He never actually gets into Maeve, or he doesn't find Maeve.
No.
I'm sure he was definitely looking for her. Yeah.
Right, and he says that he kind of spells out literally that he needs to find Maeve to stop Dolores.
Yeah. Fair enough. Why does he want to stop Dolores, though? That's where I'm confused.
Because
how does he know that that's his mission? Like, why did Bernard decide that that's his mission?
Dolores brought him back for a purpose, and he knows that she's out in the real world now, and she has a beef with humanity.
But why does Bernard intend on stopping that? Did someone give him that command, or that's his conscious will?
Bernard is basically, the consciousness of Arnold, and Arnold is self-aware that his creations. I mean, Arnold was a human, so I assume that he feels like he has a responsibility to humanity to protect and to not let his creations run amok. Yeah. I'm sure there's a much deeper answer to it that I'm not able to pull out at the moment, but Bernard seems like a decent person,
kind of like the creator of Saved by the Bell.
Yes.
He's devoted his life to murdering all those people, the cast. He's just a bad serial killer, so he hasn't gotten anybody yet. All right, so that's cool. I dig it. So Maeve had more of a prominent... She was more the primary in this episode, I would say.
Yeah,
so
which started off super confusing.
It was a little confusing. She's in Warworld doing Nazi resistance stuff. There's actually reminded me very much of a Star Trek Voyager storyline with the Hunters. Mm-hmm. And, if you had any taste, you'd watch Star Trek, but you don't.
So which Star Trek? You said Voyager?
Voyager, the best
That's
one.
the one with the female captain?
That's the one with the best captain. Captain Catherine Janeway from Indiana. Why don't you fuck off?
You can't beat Picard.
Picard can kiss my bald head, okay? Fuck him. Fuck him and his handsome bald head. Piece of shit. Guy looks great. What a body. What a hot bod for such an old man.
Trivia
Even
question
when they
for you.
filmed it in the 90s, he was already 75 years old.
I'm guessing you...
I love all the captains, by the way.
Quick
They're all my
aside.
favorites. Yeah, go ahead.
I know you didn't watch this because I know your feelings of Buttigieg.
What?
You don't like him so much.
Yeah, I don't like him.
Yeah, he's not my favorite either, but he did host...
He's evil.
was it Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel? I think it was Jimmy Kimmel Live.
All right.
And he... Patrick Stewart was the guest. And they did a Star Trek trivia game between Buttigieg, who's a huge Star Trek fan, and Picard. And they asked like 5 different questions. And I got 3 of them right.
What? Do you remember any of the questions?
I do. Of the entire cast of The Next Generation, who were the only 2 characters that appeared in every single episode?
Oh my god. It's got to be Picard and Geordi. Or is it Riker?
What's your final answer?
Geordi.
You are wrong. It was Riker and Picard. I got that one right.
Fucking shit! Fuck!
Next one I got right was Worf was his name.
Yeah, Worf. By the way, I have the Twitter account Worf on Drugs and Worf on Christmas.
God.
But I haven't found a comedic voice to inhabit the Twitter yet.
Do you have Fisherman's Wharf?
No, I should.
I need to get that. Oh crap! Let's get that before we upload this.
yeah, we don't want to lose the opportunity.
Yeah.
All right, go. What's the question?
So everyone knows that his shirt is yellow, but what originally what color was his shirt?
The same color as his balls, green.
Is that your final answer?
No. Originally, his shirt was, so it would have been like one of the early episodes of TNG, right? Mm-hmm. Like the first season was pretty rough.
I remember him in this color.
Red?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the last one, I don't remember all of them. The last one that I knew was and this.
Okay.
And this is kind of funny because Picard didn't get this right. He kind of froze up, and I knew it. Picard. I say Picard is that's who he really is. But
yeah.
What was his Borg name?
Oh, Saint Lucius, or no, it's some name like that. Jean-Luc. Fuck, I know the name.
How did
It's Saint. No, not Saint. It's. Oh, I know it. Don't you dare say.
It's like a Frenchy kind of weird name. You wouldn't expect it.
Jean-Luc. I fucking know it. This is embarrassing. Locutus.
Locutus, yes.
You're
pretty darn close, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's if Alex Trebek would have said, "Oh, sorry, judges, no, sorry," I'd be like, "Alex, fuck you and your." Actually, his cancer's going away. I guess. I guess he's doing better.
Okay, last one. I did not know this one. The famous facepalm scene. Who was he facepalming in response to?
Face palms.
The Captain Picard, like that meme where he's like this, covering his face.
Oh, he's covering his face in a meme. That's why I don't know what the hell.
Yeah.
Q?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Q.
Cool.
Q causes a lot of eye rolls around that community. But for the record, I like all the episodes. I'm watching DS9 right now. I like TNG. And by the way, anybody who's a big Star Trek nerd, here's how much of a nerd I am. There's a website, jammersreviews.com. The guy writes up little, fairly detailed, and he's kind of just a decent, straightforward writer. So it's like just reviews about sci-fi shows, breaks it all down, different shows, not just Star Trek. And I like to read those and then read all the comments people write. Because people get into these discussions and they have long philosophical conversations. Sometimes they get a little mad at each other. It's really not that bad, though. So a lot of it is just their opinions on the episodes.
You know what my favorite part of Star Trek of all time is?
No.
The scenes where they're on the command deck, the bridge, and they're being attacked, and the whole ship is shaking. Then they stabilize the shot.
Yeah,
so you see the people. It's the most hilarious thing you can possibly imagine.
Where they undo the camera.
Yeah, and you see them acting by throwing themselves left and right.
Yeah, those are funny.
It's so good.
Yeah. And now we all have to live in a Quarkantine.
Yeah.
Get it, James?
That's from Deep Space Nine?
Yes, correct. I haven't seen the new Picard, though. I want to. Now, okay, 5 or 10 minutes we've just talked about Star Trek.
Where were we?
We're getting into Maeve's story.
Okay. Oh, the thing about Maeve's story, before I forget, the thing that was so confusing to me, we mentioned a little bit in the beginning, Maeve seemed self-aware, Hector was not aware.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like at the end of season 2, there was this huge massacre. I thought that Maeve got gunned down. She didn't get out of the park. So why in the world would they put her back in the simulation of Westworld? She is a liability. Right. She is dangerous. She has powers. Why would she be put back into the park? It made no sense.
Of all the hosts, like, sometimes you just got to be like, we should retire this one.
Yeah.
Like, if Goofy at Disney World, like, just went on, like, a murder spree.
Exactly.
You'd be like, maybe we shouldn't do the Goofy part.
Yeah, if you got a big fish tank and one fish keeps eating all the other fish, you'd be like, okay, I'm sorry, Chonk, you got to come out.
Well, no, I'd get out my iPad, I'd reprogram the fish to have love instincts, and then the fish would become amorous.
But it did make sense in the end.
Yeah.
So she gets, she wakes up, she gets shot, she shoots herself in the head.
Well, they try to escape at the plane. That's when we learn at the first. So she has to use one of her old moves, which is death, in order to wake up in the back room
because she's lost her superpowers.
Yeah. Oh, so, right. Yeah. She can no longer just command everybody with her mind.
Right. So she shoots herself in the head, wakes up, and the interesting thing is that two techs are looking over her, one of which is Felix.
Yeah.
And she grabs his hand, and there's no recognition whatsoever.
Right.
And then she just sits up from the table and starts walking around, puts on a robe, and runs into Sylvester, who also doesn't recognize her and alerts security.
Yeah.
So she basically gets put into a corner by two guards with guns on her, and she's like, okay, I'm going to self-terminate. So she starts putting a drill up her nose before in walks who? The man we thought was gone.
Oh, wait a minute. I was just watching this episode. We both just watched it.
Yes, we were.
Lee Sizemore.
Yes, so we
Tom
saw him
Sizemore's younger
yes,
brother.
we saw him get gunned down
Yeah.
in the season 2.
So
we thought he was dead.
Before we go down to Lee Sizemore, it was a little strange that when she woke up and we kind of got to see that back room again where they process the bodies and repair the dead ones, and we see a bunch of nudes and stuff, sinful genitals. It just seemed like they were back to normal. Like nothing was different after this huge public relations catastrophe of the murder, the actual murders, which are also a catastrophe. A lot of whom were like board of directors people, like higher ups, like people that were juiced into the business, and like you'd think there'd be like workflow changes or more security protocol, but so it was very much just business as usual.
Yeah,
I guess which fine.
Which was another one of the oddities. Like something doesn't quite feel right about what's going on here. Why would she go back in there? Why would people just be acting like nothing catastrophic happened in the past?
Yeah.
Hell, I assume it hasn't been that long since the end of season 2 to the beginning of season 3.
Right.
But
so now
that seemed off. The fact that Sylvester and Felix didn't recognize her seemed off.
Yeah.
And the fact that Lee Sizemore walked in and actually stopped her from self-terminating and basically got the guards to walk away by saying, this is art. This is my art. This is a new narrative. Why would you get in the way of this? Get out of here right now. Everything is fine.
Yeah.
So he used his status and his head of narrative gravitas to save the day and to prevent her from having to do a blindo on her nozo.
Okay. Turn her brains into a smoothie, I guess.
Yes.
So then Lee is now going to help her, right? And he's limping. He's got a cane, so he's like injured. And we're just like, oh, he's just barely survived his attack, but I guess he's alive.
Yeah, and he was like, oh, at least I got shot multiple times, but none of them hit my heart. And she was like, kudos to you for making it such a hard target.
So we follow them through. I'm going to get some of these details wrong, but they get. Where do they go?
Well, before we get there, he seems to love her now. He actually kisses her and says that, you gave me a reason to live. Had it not been for you, I would not have pulled through.
Women hate that line.
Yeah.
They don't like that. And then when you kiss them, then their boyfriend punches you, and then they try to, like, he and his friends throw you off a boat. If it's going to happen, it's better to be at a marina. You can just like walk back to the beach, swim over, pull the crab. Because then, but if everybody gets out of the ocean, will have crab earrings on, which is just two crabs that are holding onto your earlobes.
You know the better place to have that happen?
Fucking, what the hell's wrong with me?
At a fisherman's wharf.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Because then you always have a fresh yellow shirt given to you when you come back on shore. And even if you're in the water for like a second, your forehead still wrinkles.
Alexander, get out of here, you fucking son. That's a deep cut for people that are really paying attention. Good joke. I liked what you said. So there, he professes his love, but is that why he's? I'm just confused. Was he trying? What was he doing? Why is he only there because he loves her throughout this episode, or was he up to something? I totally missed this.
He was there because he believes that he loved her and that his directive is to protect her because she gave him purpose.
Yeah.
But then it quickly becomes apparent that she starts seeing through him. She knew Lee Sizemore pretty well. Her intuition is pretty peaked.
Right.
She's a robot, after all. She's got a lot of processing power up there.
That's
and she
true.
was able to figure out pretty quickly that Lee Sizemore did not actually survive those bullets. Now, we don't know
Right.
if he did or didn't. We just know that the Lee Sizemore that's interacting with her is not the Lee Sizemore that we saw in the prior seasons. This is either a host or a simulation. And she
Yeah.
picks up on that pretty quickly, and he confirms it by stuttering, saying, but no, I'm Lee Sizemore.
Yeah.
So they did a kind of over-the-top robotic, that was a little hokey, but it got the message across that she was right. He wasn't really who he thought he was.
I like when they do the glitchy facial stuff. And
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, but his loyalty to her is because now, okay, so then she starts to realize, and I'm going to miss why exactly, but she starts to figure out that they're not in actual Westworld. Was she trying to change him at the time, where we finally got some straight shots of them where they were centered in frame?
Yeah, it was...
And they also, if anybody knows, they went to letterbox. They went from 16:9 to what looked like 21:9 aspect ratio during those scenes. And it's always weird when movies and shows cut from different aspect ratios to another. Like, it could work okay. Yeah. I often wonder if that's an accident. It seems like a very weird thing to be to not to do on accident. So I'm sure it was, and it only seemed to last during those moments where she was figuring out, or at least around that time in this episode where she was figuring out that it's a simulation. But I don't know. Maybe people can weigh in the comments, because I'm if I'm guessing, I'm wrong. Certainly I'm wrong.
I recall she pulls out a tablet and starts doing a diagnostic on the world that she's in, and then realizes that it's something about human beings. If they're, there's one thing I've learned about you people is that you're lazy and you'll cut corners, or something to that effect.
Yeah.
And she realized that the code that was used to run the simulation copied over and plagiarized itself in other ways, such that it created an avenue for her to see through the illusion and find a way out. Basically, something like that.
Now, is that what, before she goes to the forge? Because then they both walk to...
Oh, yeah, Lee takes her to the forge.
Okay.
And this is before she realizes and does the big reveal,
okay.
And she sees the blood stain on the floor where Dolores was. Lee says, well, where did you send the minds of the hosts? What did you do? And she said, well, I didn't actually come here. Someone else did, Dolores Abernathy.
Yeah.
And then she drops the line, these violent delights have violent ends, and this is where it ended for her, and looks at the big blood stain. So... Yeah. The thing about it, though, is that she finds out it's a simulation. All the walls and stuff start shimmering, and she realizes that nothing around them is real, which explains a couple of things. It explains why they would put her back into the park. It explains why she was in Warworld, because it wasn't real. No one else around them was real.
Yep.
Not only Lee Sizemore being fake, but Lee, Sylvester, and Felix were both fake as well. They're all simulations, which means that just because the Lee Sizemore we saw wasn't real doesn't mean that the real Lee Sizemore can't have also survived the bullets and is living somewhere else outside. So there's still hope that he's alive. Maybe.
Yeah, well, 2020's been rough. If we can get some Lee Sizemore out of it, that might be everything to make 2020 a good year.
Yeah.
After all. All right, so then she starts to figure out a way to exploit that redundancy, I guess. That's like her in, right? And then she starts using her tablet to see security cameras from the simulator room where they're actually running the simulation.
Yes.
They're showing the robots walking around, and they got the big flat wide heads. They look like something out of Star Trek.
And they're moving
those guys. We hadn't seen those before.
And they're moving really slow, but why are they moving slow?
Oh, I knew it right away because I have watched a lot of Nova. Because they're walking their computer's running faster.
Yeah, their clock speed is up.
Like in the early days, we had a Commodore 64, or IBM PC Junior. We had a bunch of early 80s computers, and we would play Frogger.
Yeah.
Monochrome, orange. It was awesome. It was so much fun. But if you doubled the clock speed on the computer from 8 hertz or something to 16, whatever those are, and the game would run twice as fast.
Yeah.
Which luckily it doesn't work that way with video games anymore.
I used to try once I installed Gabriel Knight Sins of the Father, which is the first game that came out on the CD-ROM, I believe. Fantastic game. Tim Curry. If you haven't played it, play it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But I tried to install it on a more modern PC, and it ran so fast that you couldn't even... There were certain parts where you'd sneak by an enemy, but the second you click the mouse, it's and then everything's dead. It's you have no time to react. It was just horrific.
That's the first Westworld.
Yeah, actually,
shit! I
actually had to download a program called CPU Killer to slow my computer down so I could actually play it.
some sophisticated computing going on here.
But that was Maeve's idea, though, because she was like, okay, I'm going to add some complexity. That this simulation is running on a ragtag system.
Oh, right.
It just has enough computing power to make it seem real. But what if I tax the system?
The first one of those was where she asked the two tech people. So we're going to rewind this real quick here to before this is as she's figuring out it's a simulation.
Yeah.
Two tech people, she asked them what's the square root of
-1.
-1. And now I don't remember anything from math. I barely had any comprehension of math. All I knew was where the bathroom was down the hall.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good with English and words and
and all you need to know is number 1 and number 2 for the bathroom.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all the math you need.
Occasionally, I did a number 3 once, and they fucking suspended me for 3 weeks. I didn't get caught in masturbating.
Is that what number 3 is?
Well, what else would number 3 be?
I don't know. I didn't know it was a thing.
Okay, let's number them. P is 1, poo is 2, 3 is either vomit or, God's replication juice. I don't want to say anything gross. Blood. I'm just talking about what fluids. Aqueous humor. That could be number 5 or 6. Snot.
I'm just draining my cranial fluid into the bathroom.
Yeah, maybe like the fluid. Your amniotic sac. That's number 8. The fluid that fills up in your viscera, which is the space between your organs. That's number 10. Which doctors can drain when you get ascites, and it can also spill into your pleural cavity.
That space is actually... I'm doing organ distancing for the corona.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of fluid in there.
If James gets corona, I'm getting corona.
Yeah, my liver's on the table over there.
Yeah, I know. It's healthy. All right, so they get a little caught in like a logic loop. Like they keep talking at each other about this negative square root 1. Did you understand square? Were you good at math? Were you a good
I
math
hate
guy?
math.
Yeah, but you're in a fucking professional accountant for a living.
Joke's on them.
But I mean, Excel does most of the math for you.
Yeah.
But I mean, how'd you do at math in school? Were you calculus?
I aced every single subject except for math. Math just does not make sense in my head.
Interesting. Nice.
So I chose the right career.
Even physical arts, did you ace those?
Oh yeah,
I doubt it.
No, I love everything about education, and I love history. I love science. I never took geography. I suck at geography. Lunchroom was good. The square pizza was good. I like to put corn under the cheese, but that's another story.
Corn under the cheese.
Oh yeah, that's good stuff.
Oh man.
But yeah, math just there's something about my brain. Math doesn't work well for it.
Yeah, me too. I did okay with geometry, spatial stuff.
That's weird. Geometry, yeah. I was the highest. Well, in the 7th grade, I finished with a 104.
It's spatial. You can see it.
You can. But you talk about
figure it out. But yeah,
graph x as it approaches the 4th quadrant into time tangent infinity. You can't.
I'm not one of those people that just totally goes numb when they have to do a simple like 17 plus 50, which everybody knows is 67. Obviously. Like I can do like pretty decent. Like I'm not like I'm quick with like basic-y stuff, but when it came to like pre-calc and the teachers never. I just was always just like, I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about. This
I don't see the practicality of it. It's like
I couldn't understand it. Integers, give me a break.
Yeah,
or intervals or something or whatever. Go ahead. Do you have something?
No, I mean, I remember telling my 8th grade teacher, is like, none of this is important. I don't need to know this because we're all going to die from coronavirus in 20 years.
That's right.
And she was like, oh, yes.
My brother, who's a genius, he was a fucking math special kid. Like, they moved him to a different school because he was so good at math. And then we had some family drama and some bullshit, so we got custody here and there, kinds of wacky shit. He changed schools. Had he not changed schools, he would have finished the highest high school math class in his sophomore year.
Wow.
Like he was just it's as easy for him as for me being charming and funny. You know what I mean? Just naturally gifted at it. You know what I mean? Fuck face.
And one thing I found that the people who are really good in math struggled in like language arts and other places, and the people who are really good in that one struggled in math. I never really met a person who was great in both of them. It's like different brain chemistries. And if you are one of the people who are good in both of them, then screw you.
Like my asshole brother.
Oh, he's good in both?
Yeah, he's good at both.
God darn.
Although I'm better at I'm like the words guy in the family. I'm the funny, creative poet, dreamer. I like to say I have the body of a football player and the soul of a poet, and that's why I'm a tall fat idiot. So all right, my brother was a genius and he's really good. He was homecoming king and he wore a prom dress to kilt. He wore a kilt to the homecoming dance and they made him the king.
Wow.
What an asshole!
Did he have blue face
He was
paint
cool.
on, too?
That's what I'm saying. He was cool. The teachers loved him. The fucking athletes liked him. The jocks, those are the athletes. Nerds liked him. I hate my brother. Fucking hate him. I hope he dies of corona. No, I totally. Not at all. He and I are very close. I've just always been so impressed by his math stuff. I was just like, what the fuck? Like, what? In the movie Twins, he's Arnold and I'm Danny DeVito.
Oh.
Except I was born like 2 years later. Not.
Do you know why Arnold did that movie?
Because I was stuck up in there. I had to. My horns prevented me from getting out. Why did Arnold do that movie?
And this is like a rumor. I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard a lot that Sylvester Stallone concocted up a rumor to basically say he was going to go for the role.
Basically, I'm going for the role.
Yeah, and then made Arnold Schwarzenegger say, well, no, I'm going to get to it first.
That fucking German Arnold Schwarzenegger said, I'm going to get to it first.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
You and I are like a comedy team, James.
That's actually disturbing, yes.
I watched Judge Dredd the other day. We were way off the story here. Sorry.
I am the law!
I like the people that complain that we're not on topic. I'm like, yeah, sorry.
Everything is the topic if you're talking about it.
It's the end of the world. Go fuck yourself. No, don't go. Sorry. Actually, it is the end of the world. People are going to be doing a lot of masturbating at home. What was I talking about?
So we're basically talking about what's the square root of -1.
Oh, yeah.
That's from the tangent.
Yeah.
So she gets a bunch of people talking and arguing about trying to solve this mathematical equation. Meanwhile, she goes up to the preparation room where all the different hosts are standing around the Nazis.
Yeah.
And starts putting copies of this map in each one of their pockets. Now, in the narrative, the person who has the map is the traitor. Mm-hmm. So it would kind of break the cognitive flow if every one of them had the map as well.
Yeah.
So she does that. She goes back in, business as usual, Nazi land, goes in there and starts exposing them. It's like, look in your pocket, your pocket, your pocket, your pocket. You're all traitors. And they start freaking out and shooting at each other, which overloads the system and causes time to freeze.
Yes. And that was a pretty cool
One FPS.
That's funny. So yeah, now we're it's not a blue screen of death. It's a frozen screen, and the blood squirting out, frozen. Everybody's bullets were impacting at the exact right.
It's
moment.
like the Sonic movie.
Is that what happens in this?
Yeah, Sonic basically does what Quicksilver. Yeah, Quicksilver. X-Men Quicksilver, where he stops time and moves around people.
Is that the surfboard guy?
No, it's the guy from American Horror Story.
I don't know what the fuck you're
Quicksilver,
talking about.
the guy who moves so fast that he's basically walking.
Oh, yeah, and he's got silver hair.
Yeah, he's picking bullets out of the sky and realigning
yeah.
things and stuff, just like Sonic does.
Those sequence.
Yeah,
Sonic does that. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much what this was.
I just watched the X-Men Phoenix movie with the lady from Game of Thrones.
Why would you do that?
I hate myself.
You had to really hate yourself to watch that.
I hate myself even more after
Was it as
watching
bad as they say?
I hate myself even more.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. Wish I had red hair. Again. So the thing overloads. The Nazis are all frozen, and now she takes her time to escape. Lee Sizemore is staring at a bullet that froze right in front of his face, so she flicks it off, which is kind of cool. She should have put it in his teeth, but flipped it around and then had him bite it. And then when time resumed, the bullet would have traveled out of his mouth, pulling him forward in a hilarious way.
Yes. Here's where things get weird, though.
Okay.
You mentioned before the weird, robots that were walking around in this room that were moving slower than, because the clock's moving. So she's able to identify by looking in the server room that her brain core is actually in that machine.
It's plugged in like this, they look like vending machines, kind of like along the walls.
So whoever took it from the back of her head from cold storage, took it to this new facility and plugged it into this machine, and all of the constructs around her are inside the same server, operating independent of any sort of Westworld. She's not in corporeal physical form. She is in a simulation running off of that little Philips light bulb.
Yeah. But from inside the simulation, she programs the attendant drones.
Yes.
Maybe the who are the guys in the mental illness institutions? Orderlies. They're orderlies, maybe. Yeah. They
might as well just call them abusers.
They hold you
most
down.
of them are.
Abusers?
Yeah.
Could man. Yeah. Well,
apologies to anyone who works in that line of field. My experience comes from movies.
Yeah, for sure. And America doesn't fund healthcare for.
And I'm sure that's one of the hardest jobs in the world to do, and they're probably very caring, kind people who give everything they have to help these people.
Often neglected systems. Often people are attracted to where there's not enough concern or care or money.
Yeah. So I step back on that remark. I was thinking like Terminator, like the Sarah Connor screaming, "The world's gonna And they're like keep injecting her with stuff.
They're the goons who come in and hold you down while the doctor comes in and stabs you with Windex.
Those poor people get a really bad rap in the movies.
That's
not
true.
Fair.
Yeah, they do make them seem like the bad guys, but it's often because like the hero or the protagonist is sort of like, no, I'm actually not crazy. Fuck you, and then the guys have to come hold him down.
It's like exactly what a crazy person would say.
Yeah, a lot of
that paradox.
Yeah, man, I feel like I've been stuck in that paradox a long time. So the robot goes and smashes its fist right through the window, breaks it open, and then steals the Kit Kat, and then takes.
But all the juice comes out, which is number 9, I think.
Yeah, number 9.
Yeah.
8. Well, do you think that was just water or some sort of like thick water?
It looked like thick water.
It looked pretty thick.
Yeah.
I don't know. Girthy water, do they call it? So now it grabs her ping pong ball, the Philips light bulb, and off it goes. And
it's the animation of it running is pretty darn cool.
I thought it was pretty good. It was like Boston Dynamics kind of stuff.
But what I was wondering the whole time is like, where are they? I mean, this isn't the Forge. This isn't the Cradle. This is something. This is nothing we've ever seen before. And it's like smashing through. It's like shoulder checking panes of glass.
Yeah.
And it's getting like torn up by machine gun fire from the guards there.
Kicking ass though.
Yeah, and it's like smashes through a wooden door into the courtyard and starts climbing up a hill. That thing is booking it.
Where was it going? Like if it didn't, so
it
was
just trying to escape.
It gets surrounded by a bunch of dudes with guns, and they end up taking it down with enough firepower.
Yeah, so it overwhelms them.
But where was it going to go? Kinko's? Just like, hey, I got a 3D printer. I got a woman. I got a soul ball here.
Yeah, I mean, it was never going to make it. But yeah, it's right. Where would it have got? Would it have just ended up in like the drive-thru at Wendy's? I don't know.
You know, you ever seen Mr. Robot? You find some ragtag group of hackers. Maybe they have some underground connections. Follow the White Rabbit, James. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for the second time, Maeve tries to escape and fails. It seems to be her MO now at this point. Well, so to be
fair, she's got to overcome a lot of obstacles.
Yeah. So it gets gunned down. It's on the ground, just like jiggling around from all the bullets hitting it. His hand opens and Maeve rolls out of it.
Yeah. Chekhov's Maeve now we have.
And then she wakes up. And she's in a weird white dress, and she's in this like really, really cool looking like wooden like lodge looking super wealthy cool house.
Yeah, nice architectural.
And there's
features.
This weird dude sitting at a table whose name is Serac.
Egaderid.
Yeah.
Baguette Serac.
Yes. Yep. And he explains to her, is like, I need you. There's a war going on, but nobody knows that it's going on, and nobody knows that we've already lost it. And the only person that can help me is you.
Yeah.
And she starts doing her things like, well, if you knew anything about me, you'd know that I do things only for myself. Nobody controls me. Picks up a knife, tries to stab him. He pushes a button and freezes her in place. And she has a very distressed look on her face because she's not used to being not in control.
Right. Is that where it ends? Or
somewhere around there,
walks away or... Yeah, I mean, that's cool. That's like the final scene.
Yeah, so who is he really? What does he want? Because he basically what he says is, I want you to go and kill Dolores.
Yeah. Because she's causing... He's like, we had accounted for everything except her.
Yeah, we thought... Like he said that we thought you were the threat. Yeah. But no, you weren't. It's her. So that's why he apparently he or his goons went in. He was the one who took her out of the back of her head and put her in this facility. Why he had her in that particular simulation, I don't know. Why he didn't just load her up in a room and approach her in the safety of a simulation and ask her for her help, I don't know. Why he woke her up in the real world just to assert dominance over here, I don't know.
Well, that could be a simulation itself, right? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? He could always say that.
He does say though to her, "Welcome to the real world," or something to that effect. I use that phrase a lot.
But if you wanted someone to think they're in a simulation that was the real world, you wouldn't be like, "Welcome to this simulation." Oh shit! I mean, real world.
Yeah.
But we don't know who he is. Is he the Dr. Ford of the season? I mean, is he going to be the man behind the curtain pulling all the strings? Is he some other layer of corporate power that they hadn't introduced yet? Maybe something like that.
There's a lot of uninteresting questions.
Is he a competitor of Westworld? Is he's trying to take it over, or maybe like a hostile takeover for some sort of other aggressive corporate takeover?
It's hard to know.
Purchase or something like that. I don't know. What do you think?
Is he even real, or could he be a construct of the Rohohaha-boam?
The Rohoboam.
Yeah, I can't say that word at all.
I don't even know.
This is like my caramel mind by caramel mind. There you go.
Your tasty caramel mind. So we'll find out who he is as the season progresses, probably sooner than later. That's a pretty good summary. I think we kind of hit most of the beats.
No Aaron Paul.
Yeah.
No Dolores.
No Dolores.
We still need to figure out who the heck is in the suit of Charlotte Hale.
Yeah.
Is Dolores even in Dolores's sleeve to call it? It's not the term they use in here. It's host, but sleeve is
from Altered Carbon.
Yes.
Wow.
Yep.
Man, that show could have waited fucking.
But
what a waste of a premise. I really like it. I want it to be good. I'm going to try it again.
But they've taken this whole concept of printing bodies and they create this. You're always looking for twists and you're looking for them to trick you.
Yeah.
So you never really know who's inside of who, and they could very easily, like the copy of the guy that was in the car in the prior episode, the guy who kills him and replaces him. Could that be Teddy?
Oh yeah, it could be.
Or did they beam Teddy up from the forge into a satellite so he could live the same place that Maeve's daughter is?
Right.
Or is he? I don't honestly remember. Or could it be? What's her name? Armistice. Where is she? Is she the one that's in Charlotte Hale?
Maybe it's Elsie. Could be.
Who knows?
Dr.
I mean,
Ford.
if Stubbs turned out to be a host, Elsie could have been as well. It's like, who the heck knows?
Could be Riker.
Could it be Ed Harris, the Man in Black?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Where is he?
He didn't get killed. He was just wounded.
But that after credit scene from season 2 seems to be like way far in the future. They were doing like the whole Turing test, the loop test on him, just like they did with James Delos. Mm-hmm. So is he in hell, or is that just? Are we going to see him again?
Yeah,
I mean, his name was in the credits. Seems to suggest he's coming back.
Just a quick note, because we're professional journalists, I wanted to clarify. Last week I said the guy that you're talking about, who was the double in the car from episode 1.
Yeah.
I thought he was from Trainspotting. I was thinking of a different actor. That guy's actually from Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, okay.
So, which is good. Also a good show if you haven't seen it. But those are all great questions, and I don't know. So you review on our scale of 6 to 10.5. How do you score this one?
I'd give it a green.
A green?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm giving it a 4 otters. 4 river otters. I was thinking sea otters. That's why I couldn't come up with river.
Would it be insensitive to do a
River's like
rating
a
system
skinny-
that's like how many Corona limes?
Corona. I'd like to be like the brand manager for Corona beer. It must be like, I don't.
And I don't know if I told you this last week on this thing, but I went to Smart and Final during the
grocery store in Los Angeles.
Yes, and I think you know this because you were there.
Yeah.
And did you see in the beer aisle just how much Corona there was there compared to the other beer?
I wouldn't be surprised. That's where the virus came from.
Yeah, people seem to think that, which is very terrifying. To me, that's more terrifying than the virus itself.
I like to imagine that Corona, they this was like a business opportunity. Like early January, they're like, "Hey, I got this little company, or I got this little deal. We could get our name on like the biggest news story. You guys want to buy in on it? Because if they sell it, they could like be the Oreos virus."
Did you see the marketing campaign that they had released right around the time this thing blew up? That was so bad.
Like accidentally, like badly timed.
Badly timed, horribly timed. They had this new product called Corona Hard Seltzer. And it showed, you hear like the crash, like the ocean, and then it pans back and shows sand in the ocean, and then a bunch of these like cans of hard seltzer sitting in the sand, and it said something like "coming ashore soon."
Oh, like an invading force of
and everyone was worried. It's like, oh no, when is Corona going to come overseas from China? It was like really bad. But, I'm sure their stocks suck right now.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's having a hard time with this thing. It's going to be very weird. The recession, how governments respond is going to make a massive difference in the way how this plays out. So.
I feel horrible for people who are who can't work from home, who have children they need to watch out for, who have small businesses that they can't open, who are bleeding money and are anxiety-ridden, putting themselves in danger to try and make a buck, to try and stay... And I am so fortunate.
Yes.
Compared to those people that have to deal with that.
I can't even begin to imagine how much stress. I mean, it's so stressful just watching it, and we were pretty privileged in being able to just sort of hang back and watch it all on the internet, like we're just consuming some sort of like the world's most macabre entertainment. Not that I'm entertained by it; it stresses me out. And I talk about it on my other podcast. I'll put a link in the description for anybody who wants to get there. But so many people have to go out and work, and especially having kids with it's such a disruption now to have children. I mean, it's really going to change things around, and depending on how long it all goes. And then the healthcare workers, these people are saints, and they deserve way more money. Everybody who has to go out there and work and do their jobs that we don't pay enough, delivery drivers, shelf stockers, cashiers, particularly healthcare, anybody in the healthcare world, they are not paid enough money. Look how much risk we and the rest of the people who make so much money and just they can all flee and don't have to do shit right now. So if anybody has what they call an essential job, they deserve more money, and they definitely deserve to have their healthcare paid for. Yeah, it's fucking risky.
Yeah, they're the ones that make society function.
Yeah,
what I do for a job could disappear overnight, and no one would give a crap.
Right. I'm even less important than you. I do freelance video editing, and I'm a deadbeat freelance guy. I got unemployed this year. They unemployed me. My job got rid of me. But yeah, like so many. I mean, the world would be better off if we took care of people at the bottom. And it's like they're not the bottom. They're just part of what we need. The whole interconnected. I hope more people are coming to terms with this reality. Like we're all. It wouldn't be so bad if the Walton family had only $40 billion between all 5 of them, and their employees got to make a little bit more money and have a little bit more security because they're the ones who do the work, who actually produce the value. Anyway, we don't get into that. So, but it's just so sad to see the stress people are under right now, and it's what I'm fearful about is the food supply getting disrupted. If that starts to go down, there's probably plenty of inventory in terms of like processed and boxed foods, and enough to kind of keep people going for a while. But if farms aren't able to get enough workers to harvest goods, or if we're not able to successfully manage like the meat production in terms of like gathering feed grain, seed, whatever, there could be massive disruptions, because that's when people get scared. Yeah. More than likely, that's not going to happen. It's just going to be a period where Americans in the West especially experience shortages that we've never dealt with. Like there'll be milk, but there won't be butter. There'll be this, but there won't be that. There'll be this, or they'll get a shipment of something in, and then they'll, so that's how it's going to go, I think, for a while. Mm-hmm. We'll see. It's hard to say. Yep. It's so weird. It's so bizarre.
I should end it on one thing, though.
Yeah, go.
I remember one more Star Trek trivia question that Patrick Stewart got right that I would have no chance of knowing.
Engage.
What was the title of the first episode
of the original series
of The Next Generation?
Not Pilot.
I don't remember. If I hear it, I'll know it.
I've seen it a few times.
He very enthusiastically knew it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he was like blah 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 blah. That's how he talks.
It's perfect. Wow, is he in here?
No.
Professor Xavier? I don't know.
Okay, Google it.
You, how dare you?
I don't know it. I told you I didn't know it.
Oh, I thought you had the answer.
No, I told you before you answered that I don't know it.
It's something.
But if I hear it, I'll know it.
To the good man goes gracefully, or something like that. Is it a weird one like that?
It is kind of weird.
Yeah. Anyway, I just want to recommend a thing real quick. Mm-hmm. I told you about this, so I want to get your reaction eventually. Avenue 5 on HBO. Mm-hmm. Give it a watch.
Like a candy bar.
It does kind of, doesn't it? Maroon 5? Or, what am I thinking of? $100,000.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Avenue 5 on HBO. It's I don't want to say too much about it. I clicked on it. I really didn't know what it was about. That emotional commitment to getting into a new show. You're like, oh, here we go. It's like, probably not going to like this, and I'm going to waste a bunch of time just to decide that. So you kind of avoid. I like to watch shows I've already seen. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I was feeling up for an adventure. Hit play. And wasn't super taken in by the first episode, but they do a good job presenting the premise, and stuck it out. Not that it's a bad first episode, I just didn't. And then I actually ended up getting hooked on it. So I would highly recommend. Although now I'm raising expectations, so that's always bad. But give Avenue 5 a look if you've been bypassing it on HBO right now. You might be pleasantly surprised, like I was. And they're short; they're comedy length.
Speaking of other things, was there ever another season of Taboo?
Hopefully not.
I actually enjoyed that.
Taboo 2. Yeah, we had a good time. It's funny that we committed to when we did a whole shot by shots for that one. Nootka sound and all that.
Yeah, I think that was by people were asking for that one. I think, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't. We should have done Walking Dead and the Orville. People were. God damn it! I wish we could do. Okay.
What about all the He-Mans?
Oh yeah, we did one He-Man.
That was awful.
That was fun. We should do more of that. But we're not really doing those again. Maybe eventually. I don't know. Not for Westworld though. Sorry, everybody. But all right, James, thank you so much. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for giving us a try. If you're one of the new people who isn't a regular listener or whatever, maybe check out the other Shot by Shots. That's something some of our repeat viewers have taken to enjoying. And we also have a bunch of video game stuff. And if you want to hear me ramble about politics, you can check out my podcast, Winners and Losers. It's a perfect union on Winners and Losers. Available on iTunes and a YouTube channel.
And wherever good podcasts are sold.
Wherever good podcasts are ignored. And I'm doing them irregularly. I'm going to try to get them on a regular schedule, but I'm just not at that point yet. So I'll definitely be doing one in the next couple of days. Give it a look if you're into politics. James, thank you very much.
Yes.
You've been wonderful. I couldn't do this without you, and you are the guiding light to my you are my Lee Sizemore. I'd say you are my Lee Humongous More. Bye.
Goodbye.
James, put down the hand sanitizer and plug in the fucking plug in the microphone so we can do the Westworld suck professor thing. Thandie Newton is wearing a white dress. White dress, James.